raised, well-treated local poultry, dairy, fish and meats, and organic soy, tofu, fruit, and vegetables. This chapter has presented a number of ideas from the herbal kingdom inspired by the African diasporic practices for detoxification in a holistic sense. Cleansing of the nature covered in this chapter seeks to address the mind, body, and spirit connection of any illness that presents itself. Many of the helpful African holistic detoxification practices are drawn from ancient Egypt, though there are equally useful practices prominent to this day in the Caribbean that combine some Eastern elements. That's it for the reading. Any questions?
Yeah. Okay. You had a wonderful description of the many uses of water, and you mentioned taking showers, probably because most of us in this hurried world take showers instead of baths. Mm-hmm. But are there benefits and negative sides to taking a shower versus taking a bath that you could expound on or that are in your book?
In a spiritual sense, baths are better, and baths are what have traditionally been used in African cultures. Even like in the Caribbean, they do bathing outside in big basins with herbs in the water. The reason that baths are preferred is because it's really easy to put herbal teas in the bath water, milk, salt, clay, all of the things that are good at purging and cleansing us in addition to or along with water. Mm. In the shower, you can put essential oils on a washcloth and then have that steam up the shower so that you bring nature into the shower that way. And then I included soaking body parts. I was thinking of hands and feet because some people have written to me that are physically challenged and they can't take baths. So they wanted to know how they could ingest some of these herbs, and that's the way to do it. Soaking the feet and hands is very useful. Anybody else?
The dandelions, do you buy those?
You can buy them at places like Caputo's, Tony's has them, so they come like as leaves, but they're so prevalent in nature that you can dig them up, and use the roots that way. And you can also, if you're afraid that where the source that you're seeing them is too close to the roadside or expressway, you can just buy the dandelion root tea. It already comes in a tea bag. Anybody else?
Bread. What's your take on bread? Eating bread. Can we do that? I've heard that it's not too good to eat bread.
Well, wheat is a problematic crop. It takes up a lot of water, a lot of land, a lot of manpower, and a lot of animals are killed in the process of processing and growing wheat. So a lot of people have turned to things like spelt and other like really ancient grains. They're using grains that are not so heavily commercially processed. And when you're doing the spiritual detox, you're to avoid bread that's wheat-based.
Is there any other bread that's that you can eat on maybe not on a daily basis, but every so often? That's in the market today.
Yeah, the one that I said spelt, S-P-E-L-T, is one. There are like rice breads, like made out of rice flour. There are the different flours that are used, and usually like at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, they're frozen. There's one biblical sounding bread, I can't remember the name, I don't know if anybody...
Manna? Not the manna?
It's called something, it almost sounds like scripture. And it's used in those ancient.
Ezekiel?
Yeah,
Ezekiel.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's a
Ezekiel?
good one. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does coffee has any benefits?
It does. Coffee is really controversial because you would think that it's awful, but they have been coming out with studies that show that it reduces certain kinds of cancers. It is a good diuretic, and it helps move your bowels as well. So if it's used in moderation, like 1 or 2 cups a day, there's no problem with it. It's just if you have like 10 cups, it gets kind of bad. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned early on, when describing enemas, that it's invasive. I'm so happy to hear you say that in this public forum, because personally, they're okay, but they can be addictive. And just my experience. Could you expand more on your views about enemas versus colonics versus Cascara sagrada?
I really like flaxseed, and that's one of the herbs that's included in this chapter. I like grinding it and making a tea from it and drinking it. It's a really, it's a stool softener that's very gentle. It's a very, much more than Cascara sagrada that you mentioned, which is really rough.
It is rough.
You have to hold on to the,
Right.
the toilet and like
Right.
get down to business with that one. I just am opposed to invasive procedures in general, and that's why I really shy away from the enemas. And I know some of the sister healers that I know really are in favor of them, so I thought you were going to come down on me about it, but I just really prefer the more gentle, just ingesting the teas orally rather than injecting them. And I've never had a colonic, so I can't really speak for those.
Okay. You
Have
don't
you?
want to, yes. You don't
Are they
want to.
good?
It's more invasive than the enema, because you're controlling the enema, but the
Yeah.
colonic, somebody
That's what I was
else.
afraid
And
of.
it's a lot of water.
Mhm.
Anyway, we don't have to get too graphic. Sorry.
Yes.
Burdock root.
Mhm.
It comes in capsules and tea.
Mhm.
Tea
And
form.
loose like this, like all of these herbs I bought locally in Elmwood Park at Larrabee Herbs. So you can just buy the little packages like this, and they're really quite handy because you can get about 4 or 5 uses out of each of these packets. Some more, like this one, you can get probably 10 out of that.
So would the capsule be better or the tea? I think the tea would.
I like the tea a lot better than capsules. Yes.
If you have burdock growing
Mhm.
on your property and it hasn't been chemically treated to get rid of, because some people will try to like kill it like a root. If you dig up the root, how would you dry it so you can grind it easily?
Just hang it up and let it dry, like try to hang it so the heavy side is down,
Okay.
and then you would chop it up.
Because they have really long tentacles.
I know, I have some in my yard too. It's really a nutritious, like a lot of things that are laxatives and diuretics, just like especially the chemical ones, they just pull from your body. But burdock root gives back because it's something that like is given to invalids and sick people as a nutrient, like oatmeal.